there is some elements of scaling that keep people stuck. And one of those things, specifically Christian entrepreneurs, Christian women, is this idea of profitability, is this idea that like, I shouldn't have money, right? Like money is bad. Now we know the verses, we've talked all about them the last 5 years, but I want you guys to hear there is so much more opportunity, and its profitability looks different to everyone. So Judy, how do you help people break down those limiting beliefs to actually stand courageously in towards the calling that they have?
Okay, many different angles we could go. Let's start here on the parable of the talents.
Yeah.
I look to the parable of the talents to actually proclaim something that I don't know that anybody else ever said. And Lord God, if this is wrong, please tell me, because you've never told me this isn't right. I feel like when we play small, it is a sin. Okay, it's not just you being humble to the nth degree. It's you being sinful. How do I know that? Or why do I believe that? It's not because Judy said it. It's because of the way I interpret the parable of the talents. What did the master say to the person, the man who buried the one talent? Get away from me, you wicked, lazy servant. Okay, so that's where I get that from.
That's good.
So he was playing it safe, but what he did was operated out of fear. The decision he made to bury that, and I'm getting chills right now, is because he was fearful of losing it. What are we fearful of when we play small? Oh, I don't know what my mom-in-law will think of me. I don't know what my husband will think of me. I don't know what my kids will think of me. I don't know what, I'm not as good as so-and-so. Yep. No, everybody, each one of us has a unique voice and a unique message that when we sit before the Lord, he's going to download it and say, okay, there's no new idea under the sun. But the way we say it, the way you package yourself, Tamra, the way I package my brand and my isms, as I call them, is just the Lord's speaking uniquely through me. And when we don't do that, that's a problem. And so how does that relate to profitability? Well, the more we get out there and you're putting on conferences and you've opened this nonprofit and you're doing all these amazing things for the Lord, what if you didn't? Somebody else would have to step in and do what God had for you. Yeah. And so everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice right now, go to the Lord and say, what do you have for me? I believe that I've only begun to scratch the surface of what he's called me to. And I'm 57, so I'm kind of feeling like I'm behind the 8 ball, but yet I got to trust the Lord's timing that it's perfect, right?
That's right.
So all I want to say is, if you're like, ooh, it's sinful for me, you're not chasing money. And I posted this recently too. I'm not chasing money. I am chasing my client's success. Yeah, I am speaking and calling out those that are called to big things to say, let's go. Let's really go and pursue what's possible.
That's so good. And I think too, a lot of people forget about because that can feel sticky for people to be like, oh no, I was actually keeping this safe for whatever reason, right? The nobility side of it that you mentioned, humility side of it. I always say that you're blocking somebody else's blessing without stepping into that calling. I think about the 7 deadly sins. And so often we have these easy things. I say they're easy to admit, but like the facade of a limiting belief, right? I'm scared of success. I'm fearful of success. I'm fearful of failure. I don't think I'm worthy. And these are heartfelt things that are true and maybe premised out of trauma. But on the other side of that, there is sin. And the sin would be connected to sloth. Right? To being a sloth, to burying your talent for years and years and years and sitting on that thing, or moving with such small movements that the sloth can't tell, is the sloth moving or is the sloth still sitting, right? And so I question that within people, to be like, stop saying that this is the thing when it's actually just your lack of action. And this is connected to what we were talking about earlier with people, is this conversation of where and how do you courageously step into these miraculous experiences with the Lord? What do you think the variables were between the one who took the talents and multiplied it by 2, multiplied it by 5? What is the thing that you see as, some people call it the it factor. Emily Ford calls it the it factor. What do you see in people that allows you to say, yes, I want to partner with you. And yes, I know that you're going to see traction.
Okay. I I'm not sure exactly the tenor of your question. Like, are you saying why they would say yes to me, or to why they would invest in their business with someone? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think more so like, what do you think are the internal things or the practices that someone's going to need in order, like their own persona traits, right? Everybody's capable, but you're going to see someone and be
Right.
like, I don't think I can work with you, or I think you're the right fit.
Yeah. Well, I will start here. When we fully embrace who the Lord made us to be, that is when success will feel lighter.
That's good.
You won't feel the pressure. Too many times, and I always thought I was really real, and the more coaching and the internal self-coaching and the mindset work and the going to the Lord and sitting at his feet, the more I see how much I was holding back and how much I was kind of filtering a little bit. And I want to take all that off, because as you said, that's like a facade. But I really think that when we fully embrace who it is God made us to be, warts and all, okay, the silliness. I'm super smart, but I'm super silly.
Yeah.
I like to work hard, play hard. And so if I don't show all the edges of me, then you really may not get what it would be like working with me, or my clients may not see kind of what I bring that maybe somebody else doesn't. And so think about that you for yourself as you're sitting there. Say, wow, today I'm going to spend time with the Lord and say, who am I? What are my edges that maybe I'm like filtering out? And should I be filtering them out? Maybe, maybe not, right? But that is when we step in. I call that your zhuzh.
Your zhuzh. Tell me more.
Your special zhuzh, your special something. Do you know that when I started in business, I wouldn't tell people that I'm a lawyer. I didn't think it was relevant.
Wow. Wow. I already pointed that out, y'all. It's powerful.
Yes, and now I know it, and now it's at the forefront of what I do. I always want to tell people that. And why? Because, and I always tell this story, my first day of law school, I'm a poor girl. The fact that I was in law school, every day I would go in and I would look up at the building at Villanova, and I would say, and my dad was alive, my mom and dad, and I'd say, Lord, let mom and dad see that I'm here. Let them know how much I appreciate them. And I would walk in and I would just be in awe of just even being there, but it's this whole idea of understanding that in law school, they taught me you're going to learn how to think. You're going to be given the keys to the kingdom, is what they said. And so I liken it to say, hey, clients that work with me, you're going to get my legal brain, but my strategic brain. And I teach you how to think strategically, how to think like a CEO, which is very strategic, very intentional, and you strategize to win. We'll never lose as long as we say, okay, even when I'm failing, quote unquote, what can I learn and how can I, apply something differently? And sometimes it's just those little tweaks that make all the difference in the world.